Hi everyone, welcome to A Plus Calculus. Today we are going to review all the concepts of exponential functions for SAT Math. And in the end, we will discuss the three most important cases, these three cases. You will definitely get one question based on these three cases. This is what SAT test creators love to test, 3x, x over 3. So we will discuss this case in the end. So let's get started. So far we have reviewed trigonometry, triangles, lines, quadratics, and circles. So if you have not watched the review videos for these topics, you can find the link in the description box. Okay, so let's continue for exponential functions. Okay, so first of all, you need to know that an exponential function is of this form: y equals a times b raised to x. Now, what is a, b, and x? Y and x are variables and a and b are constants. Okay, now how will you identify if the given equation is an exponential function? The variable x, which is the independent variable, that will be always in the exponent. So if you see variable x in the exponent, that means it's an exponential function. Okay, so x is your independent variable and y is dependent variable. A is the initial value of y. Okay, that means if you put x equals to 0 here, if you put x equals to 0, then y will be equal to a. So that's why a is the initial value. Why it is initial value? Because we are getting this value when x is equal to 0. So a is your initial value and you get it whenever x is equal to 0. B is the rate of increase or rate of decrease. We will see it on the left side here. So this quantity y, it could be increasing or decreasing depending on the rate. X is the number of repetitions, how many times this process is occurring. Okay, so first of all, let's understand what is b. This b can be either between 0 and 1, okay, or it could be greater than 1, this number b. If your b is greater than 1, okay, if b is greater than 1, which is this case, it is 1.4. So if your b is 1.4, that means I can write my b as 1 plus 0.4. And that means my quantity is increasing by 40%. Okay. Okay. So this is the case when b is greater than 1. And if b is between 0 and 1, second case, okay, for example, if b is 0.6, if b is 0.6, okay, that means, well, you will get 0.6 if you do 1 minus 0.4, right? That's when you get 0.6, right? So in this case, there is a decrease of 40%. In the first case, you had increase of 40%. In this case, there is decrease of 40%, okay? So your final equation will be y equals a times 1.4 raised to x in the first case. And in the second case, your final equation will be a times 0.6 raised to x. Okay, first case was the case of growth. Second case is the case of decay. So whether the given equation is a case of growth or decay, it will depend on the value of b. It will depend on the value of b. If b is greater than 1, so in the final equation, in this equation, if b is greater than 1, then it's the case of growth. Okay, and if it is between 0 and 1, so here it is 0.6, then it's the case of decay. Okay, now first let's talk about what happens if you translate an exponential function. So this is a normal exponential function, y equals a times b raised to x. Now, let's say you move it up or down by k units. This is very important. This is asked in SAT Math. If you do plus k, okay. So for example, you can have y is equal to 2 times 3 raised to x minus 11, okay. And in this case, the SAT will ask you to find out the y-intercept. And every student makes this mistake. They will say that the y-intercept will be negative 11. y-intercept will be -11, and this will be wrong. Because most of the students compare it with the linear, the y-intercept form of linear equation, y equals mx plus b. So in linear equation, the y-intercept is this constant term. This is the y-intercept. But that is not the case for exponential functions. For exponential functions, this number is not the y-intercept. It is not the y-intercept. To find out the y-intercept, remember just one rule. You have to put x equals to 0 into this equation. And if you put x equals to 0 into this equation, so what do you get? Y equals, so I'm taking this equation and I'll put x equals to 0. So 2 times 3 raised to 0 minus 11. And this will always happen. So 3 raised to 0 will become 1. So 2 times 1 minus 11. This is 2 minus 11, which is -9. Okay. So your y-intercept is -9. Okay. So if you want to find out the y-intercept, what you will do, simply add a and k, because the term b raised to 0, when you do x equals to 0, so b raised to 0 will always become 1, and a times 1 will be a. So value of y will be a plus k, and not just k. Many students make this mistake. Okay. Okay. And this is asked a lot on SAT math, finding out the y-intercept. So be very careful about this. Next is you should know about a couple of graphs, like how the graph looks like for different situations. This is the regular exponential function. If y is equal to 3 times q raised to x, well, this is the graph. Okay. If you multiply it by negative sign, then you get its reflection over x-axis. Then, see, this is growth. Okay. This is decay. This is decay, as well as it is below the x-axis. Okay. In this case, it is above the x-axis, but it is the case of decay because here b is less than 1. B is less than 1. Okay. In this case, your a is negative and b is also less than 1. Okay. So in this case, what will happen? This is not the case of decay. This is growth. This is still growth, but it is below the x-axis. Okay, but you don't have to memorize this stuff. You can plot the graph on DESMOS, but this is just for general knowledge. Then the most important part is this. And the question which are asked in SAT math, they are asked based on these three concepts. If you have this equation, this type of equation, y equals a times b raised to x, okay, that means whatever change is happening to y, that change is happening every year, or whatever is the unit of x. So if x is measured in years, okay, then whatever change is happening to y, that change is happening every year. In the second case, I have multiplied x by some number 3. So this is y equals a times b raised to 3x. In this case, whatever change is happening to y, that is happening 3 times a year, 3 times in 1 year. Then in the third case, x is divided by 3. In this case, whatever change is happening to y, that is happening only once in every 3 years. Okay, so the change will happen after every 3 years. This is tested a lot, and 3 is just a number. You can have any random number. I've just taken 3 as an example, but you could have any number. But you should know that when it is multiplied by a number like 3, so 3, like it should be greater than 1. So that means the change, the quantity y is changing that number times a year. And if it is 1/3, right? So this time 1/3 is multiplied by x, right? So this time the quantity y is changing only once in every 3 years. So if you found this video helpful, I would request you to subscribe to my channel. This really gives me motivation to, to keep recording more and more helpful videos, and also give a like and share it with your friends if you found this video really helpful. Next, I will review the topic of angles for SAT math.